through them. The other day, in fact, we are from a teaching family, so my wife is also a computer science teacher, and she was really surprised when she had to take her laptop to the school, and occasionally the children were interacting, and she was really surprised when one of the children, they just somehow got to get an access to internet on her laptop out of blue. Like, she was really surprised. How is it possible? We don't have any Wi-Fi here. And the children, so I said, well, you are a teacher, I'm no longer a teacher. So you have to really work on new age intelligences before the children come to you, because they are not going to teach you. They will create environment where you are going to be learning. Before that, you come on to them and teach. So it was again quite fascinating for teachers to get to know about these happenings through their children. And that is a reality every day, every teacher is facing whenever he's there in the classroom. So I stand here just to share about how to deliver excellence in the classroom, which is possibly only possible when the teachers look forward to a new age of learning. But the teachers are only limited to having an internet access through probably some means, or probably having an email account and thinking, oh, they are very happy and they are well connected and they are IT literate. Well, that's not like that. Today we need a collaborative teacher. Today we need a teacher who is actually treating students more like bosses than the students. You need to treat them as your boss, because you have to satisfy that boss every day. You have to know your boss by the first name. That's a quality teacher. No matter you're having 200 children around teaching 4 sections of 35, 40 children. So you need to identify that boss, address him by the first name, because that matters. I've been a teacher myself. It was not possible for me to learn all those names. But yes, when I could call the child, address the child by the first name, he could really listen to it and say, wow, ma'am, thank you very much. Right? Oh, wow, sir, it's great. So the intelligence has to come across by giving them a personal touch. And that is what is going to bring quality education in the classroom. We need to respect our parents, for they did their high school without Google or Wikipedia. That's the truth, right? That's really, because every child who's there in the classroom is fascinated by the information available. The fact is that the limitation, who is going to guide and what limit is going to be addressed, is not known to them. They Google it and it causes seasickness to them, because they don't know the availability and the definition and the limitation of the data, what they are going to be using it. So there comes the role of the teacher as a facilitator. Today we want new age teachers who need to discuss links rather than books available in the library. They need to be supervised by their identity or the presence over the cloud. Children, go to this particular website, download this paper which I had uploaded it yesterday. So the new age teacher has to talk in terms of links and links. So that is what the new age learning is all about. The future is obviously it's going to be online, open and robust. We can see, we can match it by the available infrastructure now in every classroom. There is a high expectation from the child, from the parents. Ma'am, that module is there, please showcase it. I tested it on YouTube, it's working. Can we have that particular link being played in the classroom? So they are looking forward to, as ma'am rightly said about the Brown movement. Similarly, my daughter, who was literally, she was unsatisfied by the teacher about that gold leaf electroscope in physics. She said, Dad, I'm not able to understand what is this positive and negative charge and all. And she had no option but to say, Dad, please give me your iPad. I'm going to just go to YouTube and find out, or maybe Khan Academy could help me or something like that. and they could even download that particular 5-minute or 2-minute video, which finally satisfied her. And she said, now I'm very happy, I can even speak for 5 minutes, or even I can write in my own words. So that's pretty easy for them. And as you have seen in that documentary also, The New Age Learner, it's that WWW has a new definition, that is whatever, whenever, wherever. So the learning can take place probably anywhere. You have to have that device with you and you can learn. You are connected, you can learn, you can explore. There is no choice. Teachers need to take that, embrace the usage of technology, the dependence on technology, or else you are out of the class, out of the mind. Because the children, they are learning by their own, and you are going to be acting as a facilitator. If you're not teaching well, if you're not equipped with technology, probably the children will sleep in the classroom with their eyes open. And that's the pretty thing what they're doing otherwise. If you're not interesting to them, they'll just pause and look at you. Because your talk, your nomenclature or your communication is only limited to telling them no talking. The majority of the classrooms today discuss no talking, you know, that phrase. And it actually comes up when the principals are on round, or maybe the incharges come over across, or it's time for the assembly or something like that. So that scenario has to be activated if you make them captivated by these tools. You have to captivate them by the intelligence being delivered through these modules. You may be hardworking, and this is the possibility. You are using all your tools, skills which you have learned over B.Ed or M.Ed classes, but the probability is, if you are using this, all your hard work will be futile, because basically it will be of no effect, right? So you have to encapsulate those new age tools in order to make the children feel better, feel encouraged, empowered, and above all, interesting. We are into the second decade of the 21st century. And we're talking of new age tools, but what about our learning happening? We are simply penetrated through our own old habits. Now these old habits, like my teacher taught physics or my teacher taught English, I'm going to teach this way. How do I use this module? I don't know. That's what ma'am said very rightly, that majority of the teachers feel, ये हो जाएगा तो क्या होगा? Mouse गिर गया तो क्या होगा? The electronic pen, if it falls, what will happen? I'll lose my job. You know, there is a phobia, continuous phobia with the teachers, because they are not competent enough to handle these devices. Their lack of practice, their lack of training is what is deterring them to utilize this particular thing in the best possible way. So obviously, and the requirement today is for a rock star teacher. It's pretty easy to say my teacher teaches well, but it's not that easy. It's not that easy, right? My teacher teaches well. It's pretty easy to say that my teacher, I'm very satisfied, but not at all times. Not at all times. And what we require is a rock star teacher who uses the 21st century skills to create self-directed learners who are going to be the change agents. Who are going to be the change agents. And think of good teachers of your age. There would be hardly one or two. But certainly, if you are collaborating with the new age learning tools, you can be the rock star teacher. And the qualities for having a rock star teacher is just, you need to learn how to engage the child. Because if you don't engage the child gets enraged. मेरे तरफ तो देखती ही नहीं मेरी मैम. I don't know what is the problem. My teacher has never asked any question. Well, it's over 6 months. She has never asked, and I also hide, you know, why too unnecessary, because at times I don't know the answers. So it's good. So we need to really, in order to make the difference, the teacher has to incorporate all those 21st century skills to make the learning happen in the classroom. Well, if you're not talking of, as we have seen the difference between the teachers who are well aware about the digital tools and the teachers who are not at all in practice, because at times the Hindi teachers, the subject teachers, the social studies teachers, they say, oh, there is not very much about me, so why do I use it? But let me tell you, let me share you the findings which I have had over my visits to many schools across the country. I've seen Hindi teachers, I've seen Sanskrit teachers using this particular digital board, writing roops and dohas and other things, which makes it very, very, attractive for the children to learn, and then they look at it and they are able to replicate. So that is what the New Age tool is all about, to make this happening. You need to be extraordinary, you need to be unique, it's not limited. The availability is that of the whole spectrum. But the fact is that you have to be outstanding only when you utilize that enrichment which enhances your presence in the classroom. Or else, the children are looking at you, 40 minutes pass by, because with your documentation, with your so many XYZ activities. You need to know about your weaknesses, yes. At times the teachers do feel about, oh, what will happen if the keyboard falls down? Or probably this mouse is not working, I don't know. So you need to really empower yourself about your weaknesses. The children know all of them, but they don't speak out in public. Why will I tell about my teacher? Right? So you have to really do some SWOT analysis among your staff, or probably sitting down with your children, be at ease with them and talk to them what good things they like about you and other things. So that's what you are going to do. In order to be a 21st century winner, a teacher has to empower skills towards total quality, IT based. Above all, he has to have a vision, he has to have empowerment, like obviously he has to be motivated. Otherwise, what will happen? Okay, he's taking the children to the e-learning room, but he's not activating, he's just playing the module. And with remote in hand, you have an, at ease and the comfort. You can play the module, right? But the new age teacher or the smart teacher or the rock star teacher would actually roam around the classroom with the last bencher, that last child, who never felt the presence of teacher next to him, is happy being the teacher next to him and explaining with the help of the remote. So that is what you can do to motivate the child. You need to be innovative, you need to be networked, and you need to be a global teacher, not only a local teacher, right? You have to create your cloud presence, if I am allowed to say that, right? So you need to be making the whole system effective rather than convenient. Like the simple example I said, that this Teach-Nest module gives you the provision to have a remote in hand. It is just like a Tata Sky remote. You can play, pause, rewind the modules, right? And it's pretty easy. But the fact is that whether all the teachers are utilizing that services or not, or you're sitting back, even I've seen many schools, the children are actually utilizing that remote, the power of that remote, and they're learning without the teacher. So because the explanation is given there, teacher is there to guide that you see this module after I finish this chapter, because it's not a panacea, giving it freedom of learning. No, it is a revision module. I don't say that it's going to be a complete substitution for your book, but it's a permanent revision module which refreshes the minds and above all makes them feel happy about it. As what ma'am said, they need to be happy. The joyful learning will only take place when they're going to utilize the services of what it offers. A new age teacher is defined by the child. He is told or she is told to be polite, to be friendly, and he is able to listen to. You need to be caring, you need to encourage, you need to respect the child, You have to honor the presence of the child. You have to make him feel good. Oh, thank you very much for being present today, right? I'm so happy to have you in the classroom, right? So you need to really empower the child, thank him for his presence, because it is because of him you are there in the school. So, and above all, as I said, in the field of TQM, we deal students more as a customer, as the boss, and they need to be happy, right? It's not very clear if I say that change is only possible with time, and you have to incorporate that change towards making the learning the best way possible. If you're changing with your chalk and duster, as what ma'am rightly said, that we are just getting away out of your allergies and you know that untidy usage of overusage of the chalk and other things. So you have a new electronic pen with you, and it's pretty empowering for the teacher as well. You don't need to really make that skeleton or the diagram of amoeba or whatever, you know. Otherwise, you used to take around 40 minutes to create that diagram, and then you need to say, children, don't rub it because I'm going to come in the next period as well. Right? And some children literally used to go and rub it. Let's waste the time, and you know, 40 minutes will pass by. So now you have the data available here. You can even store that particular diagram with all the indexing and everything. So that is, and even you can record the complete video of your teaching and replay it. That's also a possibility, right? So this is pretty easier for the teachers now. The next part of my session deals with how to engage the child, because if you're not engaging the child, you're actually enraging the child. Usko gussa dila dete ho. If you're not looking at the child gets enraged. If you're only dealing with the front row, thinking that they are the brighter children and they are happy with your presence in the classroom, the other people, you know, they feel neglected. They feel enraged. So you are going to empower that learning as well. The first way is to create an emotionally safe classroom wherein the children feel the presence of the teacher and they are happy with it. And they are happy with it. Above all, they will also be engaged in that challenging task. The other way is to create an intellectually safe classroom wherein the majority of the questions you ask should be limited to their learning, and above all, more than 95% of the children should be able to answer those questions. Then only they'll feel happy. Hota ulta hai. Children are actually, they are having that fear. If I talk, I'll be asked a question and then I'll be told to get out of the class. So better be quiet. They sleep with their eyes open, right? Thinking, control yourself. No talking is what teacher demands. No learning is accepted, but no talking is not accepted. Talking should not be a procedure, right? It has to be learning. So you need to have that patience of making the children feel at home, engage them with the question which majority of the children can answer, and when they can answer, they feel engaged. And when they are engaged, you have a control over the class and the learning will happen. Next thing is, you need to cultivate that engagement meter. You have to continuously be one-to-one, eye-to-eye, be with them all around, because with the remote in hand, you're not limited to stand near the board. Had it been there no remote, probably or possibly you would be engaging yourself to this area only. But with the remote in hand, you can move around, just like I am able to move around with this remote, right? Similarly, you have a remote in the classroom, you are able to, generate your interest all around, move around with the cultivation of that engagement meter. Next is, this is the philosophy which we are actually activating in the field of TQM in education, wherein brainstorming is one of the tools of problem solving in quality circles that we have among the children. So this particular tool allows great learning to happen in the classroom when they say they are discussing. You really come up telling them, no talking children, but at times the children come up and say, no ma'am, we are not talking, we are discussing. So at times they do discuss, right? They do discuss about your presence in the classroom, about your teaching habits in the classroom, about your movement in the classroom, and about your learning which is happening in the classroom, right? So we have to give them that opportunity to learn, to discuss, and to brainstorm among themselves. The next thing is, we need to communicate with these students in the best possible manner. And remember, I expect my teachers to know the definition of the word respect. My son contributes maximum of my generation of ideas. He comes home from the school and discusses what happened, The other day he came to me and said, Dad, I'm not going to go to the school tomorrow because the teacher did not respond to my time wish. I said good morning to her and she did not reply. So I'm not liking my teacher anymore. So what they want is the requirement of the recognition, that honor, that pride. And that is what engages them in the best possible manner. That is what engages them in the best possible manner. So we have to really know the meaning of the word respect. We have to thank them for their presence, number one. We have to make them feel happy every day. And we cannot make them happy without being prepared how to make them happy. By sharing some jokes, by sharing some icebreakers in the classroom every morning, right? And that is what they look forward to, right? And that is one of the features of being a rock star teacher, right? The other way is try to make them understand the meaning of explanation, because they have to understand. My daughter liked that gold leaf electroscope because it was explained well. It could not be done so in the book in 50 words with a diagram, a still diagram given. So what actually they desire, they define, as what ma'am said, that dissection is no longer allowed in the schools. So you have a video for that frog. Now even our company has launched a 3D lab wherein you can see that three-dimensional view of the frog, how it is being done, So that gives a newer image that involvement of the child is happening, right? So this is one way. The other way is to make them feel what and why about that particular question. How is it that I could not reply? How is it that my question was not regarded as right? I should know my shortcomings. So let the child know why he could not score marks without the phobia of being scolded in the classroom. Because at times they don't raise the hand thinking that even if they give the right answer, they would not be applauded. Because it is only today that he is getting the right answer in his mind. So we need to motivate them all the time, and that is what the engagement is all about. Next is, they need to be told how to think an answer. We just expect to run, just at the spur of a moment we ask them to raise the hand. It is not like that. We have to give them, okay, discuss among your friends, take 5 minutes, and I want a proper answer. That is what majority of the teachers don't do. They expect their answer because they are teaching and they want, okay, who's going to tell me? And 1 or 2 answers come up and then again the teacher goes back to teach. So if you want the involvement, you have to give them that opportunity to discuss, right? And come up with the right answer. Even if they are not coming up with the right answer, let them share